Hello, everyone. So, first off, I want to thank you profusely for all your amazing comments. I was awestruck when I read through them. A lot of you can be authors without question. I was really, really mind blown because you really detailed what your idea of source was, or the universe, or spirit guides. And I thought that I'd jump on here today to give you my interpretation of spirit guides because I didn't really cover that on the last video. I kind of went into why I didn't really fully resonate with what this person said, and how it wasn't really possible to rule out that spirit guides exist because multidimensionality is about encompassing all perspective. It's never about ruling out anything. And again, I'm not saying that this person rules out anything. I think they're incredible at what they do. But yeah, it for me, it was more about doing a video that kind of depicted multidimensional awareness as being something that doesn't rule out what someone else's experience might be, because I sincerely believe that there are galactic beings and other beings guiding us, and I also believe that this is a holographic reality. Anyways, I won't get back into that, but I wanted to share with you what I think spirit guides are and how I've always seen them. And I think this can be an interesting topic as well. And please feel free to leave your comments below as well. I love reading through them. So, to me, there are infinite dimensions, or what one would call dimensional realms or levels of consciousness. And it's a never ending thing. And they're not even levels, like we perceive everything linearly because we're in this third dimensional construct. So we need to talk about higher levels and lower levels. To me, they're just levels. They're infinite fractals or infinite factions of consciousness. Whenever I think about spirit guides, I think of them as energies that you can connect with to further activate your DNA, your dormant DNA, to activate your 12-stranded DNA, crystal skull, whatever you want to call it, your cosmic consciousness. So I like to work with spirit guides because they enable my spiritual system to come online. A lot of us have DNA that's been degraded. Our DNA's been dumbed down. It's been hijacked, all depending on which perspective you're looking at it from. But there is no question that our DNA was degraded, and we're on this path to reactivate our multidimensional awareness, to reconnect into the divinity that we are, because we are all interconnected as one. So whenever I connect to the energy of dragons, that ignites something in me, like the dragon code. And how I see it is like the entire universe is within us, and it's like a switchboard. So you can activate your Pleiadian, you can activate your Lemurian, you can activate your extraterrestrial, your dragon, your fairy. You can activate anything that you want because everything is available to us from within. Do I think that there's a dimension of lion beings? Yes, I know that there is, just like there's a dimension of humans, and you guys are watching this right now. So whenever I connect to, let's say, lions, the lion allowed me to unblock my root chakra when I was very much struggling with money. And I did an exercise where I would imagine myself to be a lion walking through the jungle as the king of the jungle, demanding respect from all life in the jungle. And I would take that with me in my waking life, and I'd walk around as this lion. Truly, like, you can't have an ounce of a doubt when you do this. You really have to imagine that you're the lion, or you can imagine that you're staring at a lion. I also use that particular process to activate my lion code. I would go into meditation and imagine that there's a lion staring back at me, and then my fears would start to come up, and blah, blah, and I'd have to face and confront those fears. But when I wanted to activate my root chakra, because I had been so deactivated most of my life and so congested, if you will, so blocked, well, I would walk around demanding this respect, like I am the king and what's mine is mine and I'm entitled to what's mine. And I could feel like my root chakra activating, which you could liken that with the lion realm, the king realm, the majesty code, you know? So the animal totem of the lion, by connecting with their energy, I felt like there was a tube that connected us, and then I was able to funnel in their essence, their vibrational signature. So by connecting with the lion and understanding their energy, which is an energy that's inherent within me because the entire universe is within us, and it's just a matter of bringing that DNA back online. But in order to do so, we can utilize these amazing archetypal figures or mythological creatures to help with that process. So by working with the lion, I got to unclog my root chakra, if you will, because I felt spiritually constipated when it came to money. I didn't understand how people made it. I always struggled with it. I was afraid to spend it. And within a month of working with the lion energy, a lot in my life started to unblock and money started pouring in. Abundance started pouring in, and my fearlessness started to rise. So it's almost like a spiritual confidence, if you will. That's what the lion did for me. But then it was like, all right, I learned what I needed from that because it activated my dormant DNA, which was always inside of me because I had a desire. So if I had a desire to activate that within me, it means it was already mine. So from that viewpoint, I can see how we are the entire universe for sure. And then I went into working with snakes, and then I went into working with dragons, and then I went into working with fairies and angels and all these things. And every guide has a different fingerprint. Every guide has something that we can learn from. And how I view these guides is the line is more of like a visual presentation, but I also see that when I connect to an energy like rainbow fire, like I walk around, imagine that there's a rainbow fire all around me. That's like sacred geometry. So the fire, by connecting to that geometrical pattern, my inner geometrical pattern starts to come online when I integrate it, when I connect with it. So then you can see that inside of me I have all this geometry that I'm now lighting up within me. It's like a Christmas tree that lights up. So that would be a geometrical presentation of the same thing. So from one viewpoint, you could say that the cobra is a cobra, which it is. And then from another viewpoint, you could say that the cobra has a certain geometrical resonance. And by connecting into that energy, I'm able to learn from it. I'm able to become the geometrical figure or that shape. And then I activate that dormant DNA that was within me. So I do work with serpents a lot. They activate my, you could say, my positively polarized reptilian energy. You could say that when I work with, and again, we don't do positive or negative, but I was just giving you an example. You could say that when I connect with the visual of being a human with an alien head, which I do sometimes, I'm activating my extraterrestrial DNA. And I can go on and on and on. Now, what's really cool about this is that if you, for instance, imagine that you're walking around the street and that you have this beautiful rainbow fire around you. Well, when you change the color of that fire, well, that activates a different code as well, which is really cool, right? Or you can imagine that you have tornadoes coming out of your palms as you're walking. And if you can picture that the tornado is going counterclock, well, if you change the rotational spin, then it's now going clockwise, and that's going to tune you into a completely different energy. So there's endless possibility as to what we can connect with, all through the utilization of our imagination. The imagination really is the bridge to the etheric realms, to the astral realms, to all higher dimensional landscapes. It really is. So my take on spirit guides is that there is a kingdom or a dimension or a realm that is resided upon by lion beings. Just like we are human beings, but we have access to the lion within us, just like they would have access to the human within them, because I'm sure they're connecting to us as we're connecting with them. But the idea is that it all comes down to sacred geometrics for me. Sacred geometrics as well as these visual presentations. I happen to be very visual, and one isn't superior than the other. It doesn't work that way. They're all equivalent in their ability to fire up your DNA structure, your crystalline structure. So they all can lend to that I guess accelerating path of ascension. All of them can, and that's how we progress as human beings, is we're constantly working with different energies. It's like you might have a friend for a season and you got what you needed from that friend, and I don't mean that in a usury type of way or opportunistic type of way. I mean that you guys learned from each other, they learned as much as you did, hopefully, and then you guys go your separate ways. There's nothing left to explore there, and then you move on to the next thing and the next thing, and it's a constant expansiveness. It's a constant path of expanding ourselves into the galactic consciousness that we are. We hold multidimensional awareness, and the more that we work with these different archetypes or mythological creatures, the more that we're able to activate the dormant DNA within us. I work with all kinds of things. I will imagine that I have a cloak of invisibility on, and then I will perceive myself as an outsider walking towards me, right? So I'm like replicating myself and observing this guy who has this cloak of invisibility around him, and then I have to truly step into the other person's shoes, my replicate self, and then when I'm in his body, there's no one walking towards me. So that also stretches the mind into multidimensional thinking. There are copious ways to go about this, but I'm giving you guys different ways or mechanisms that I personally use, because I use different ones every day. Obviously, I have my go-tos, my default factory setting ones, where like I work with Merlin a lot, and that's an archetype. And yet, like I said in the video 2 days ago, from a higher viewpoint, I am Merlin. From another viewpoint, Merlin is a network. But I work with the whole, I have my trident, I'm an old man, and I'm spinning energy or whirling or swirling energy, or I can do anything I want. I can teleport in and out of dimensions as a wizard. I can beam laser out of my eyes and with focused intention try to, send a laser to a tree, or like target a tree or whatever. Like, you can have fun with it. And what I've found is that the more that you play with your imagination, the more that you master that energy, it will not destruct anything. It's not going to be detrimental to other beings or anything, because it becomes your astral playground. It becomes like this cosmic playground where you get to explore different energies. Is there karma there? Yes, there is karma, but it's instantaneous karma. So if, let's say, like I shoot a fireball and then there's another being that's more powerful than me that shoots it back and kills me with it, then I've just learned it's instantaneous karma, but it doesn't pose a threat because you're just playing. Just like when we were children in the park, we used to play and explore and jump around and skip and do flips. So it's very much like that, and I call it my Academy of Wizardry. And usually when I am in meditation, I'm really into the meditative walks lately. I connect to my Kundalini energy. I rise, my Kundalini energy arises, and then I induce myself into a trance. And I can sense that I'm all automatically switching myself into the organic matrix, which is like everything becomes like jello, you're in a transcendental state of consciousness. And that's when you can really unleash your inner dragon, unleash your imagination, and play with all these different guides, play with all these different beings. So I don't want to make this video too long, but because so many of you commented and shared your perspective as to what you feel our spirit guides are, what they represent, I thought that I'd come on here and share that perspective, that they are geometry, And then on a different landscape, they are beings, like visual presentations, and I find it very helpful to work with all of these different guides. It's amazing, the power that we have at our command is limitless, you guys. It's just a matter of working with the fire, working with, envisioning that you're a giant walking on the street and you're stepping on humans, like have fun with it. You're not really stepping on humans, you're imagining these different realities of all possibilities, which are all expressions. So you can be a giant, you can be a flying cobra if you want, you can be a dragon that spits pink fire, you can be a white dragon, you can be a man who can walk on water, or a woman who can walk on water. And that always connects me to a very thin energy. It's like very gracious. And you'll even find that there's like a spiritual tempo. I call it like a spiritual rhythm when you're walking. If you were to imagine yourself walking on water, you would link yourself to a very subtle dimension. I like working with that as well. I like to work with mudras. Our hands can be our guides as well. Like when you walk, if you do this, right? If you do this and you're walking like this, you can imagine that this is like a vacuum, and it's going to bring in energy from the east or bring in energy from the west. And you're bringing energy from all these different Akashic records just by doing this and connecting with your breath. And you will feel that magnetic pulsation. You will feel it in your hand. And then if you do this, and then you take this thumb and you push your skin up, that's a completely different key than if you do this. And that's a completely different key than if I do this, or if I do this when I'm walking. So there are all these infinite keys that you can work with. You can even snap your fingers as you're walking and maybe imagine that there's a giant hand in the cosmos that's snapping and getting everyone's attention. There is no end as to what we can do within this self-exploration realm. And so to me, spirit guides are everything. They're geometry, they're beings, they're cells within our body. They are all of the above and more. And if we can connect, because we all form this tapestry, we're all part of this beautiful tapestry, and we all weave in together. So I'm sure that there are beings connecting with our energy and learning from us, right? The Pleiadians, the Syrians, as we're going through our experience, they're learning from us. And then if we take a different perspective, you could say that the Pleiadians are who we are in the future. And they are our future selves. But I don't want to go on into that too much right now, because it is a multidimensional universe. And I have found that spirit guides have really allowed me to bring my DNA back online. And again, every archetype I've worked with, every mythological creature I've worked with, which really isn't mythological, it's just a different dimension, has connected me deeper into my soul. Every one of them. Or they've brought my soul forward, or they've truly helped me with my ascension path. So I encourage everyone listening to this right now to start working with your imagination more, because the imagination is the Stargate portal to all the other dimensions. It really is. The imagination is the key to unlocking these infinite doorways that lead to different corridors. And on one day, you may want to walk into one corridor that leads to different frames and pictures and that teach you something about yourself. And then on the next day, you may want to try a different doorway. Or you may want to do both at the same time. There's no end as to what you can do. You can do a mudra and then split off into a different thing where you're now a lion, and then split off. And you can be all of these things concurrently, simultaneously. So spirit guides to me are different beings, geometrical figures, you name it, mathematical equations, There are all these different energies that are accessible to us from within that allow us to remember our divinity, that help us connect to the entirety of who we are as the universe, with the universe, through the universe. So I hope that helps, and I thank you for being so participatory with all your commenting. I really, really appreciate it. And truly, some of you can be like authors. All of you can be authors, if you want to take it there. But some of you write so eloquently. I was truly inspired. So thank you.